If you want to text me, I'll get to it as quickly as I can.
I was extending this gift to candy. It might be my sugar.
All right.
Ooh, shit.
I like to see because it's a shorter walk to the podium.
No, if you hear a loud beep, my sugar went low. I'm working on it. You know what? I got some right here. I ate before I came. Sometimes that makes my sugar go low, believe it or not. It's stupid. Whoosh.
Wristband.
You think everybody had wristbands
Get prepared.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the council meeting.
Microphone.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the council meeting. If we could please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we have Crystal from the Blessed Hope, if she would give us some good words.
Good evening, everybody. Let's pray. Lord, we ask your blessings on this meeting tonight, that you would give wisdom, that you would give an ability to cut through to truth, and that your blessings will be on this city. We pray for the folks who are neighbors in Mayflower Street with the difficulties there. We pray for other people within the city who are struggling, health, whatever the needs are. Lord, you know them even better than we do. So we ask your blessing and keep our first responders safe, keep them well, both fire, police, EMS, and we pray for the DPW as well as they respond and work. We pray all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I don't have anything from the book.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Again, welcome to the council meeting. Got to do roll call.
Councilpersons Bear,
Here.
Dupre, here. Ross, here. Salcido,
Here.
Zor,
Here.
Tobin,
Here.
and Mayor Higgins.
Here. Okay. Would like to congratulate and thank, we have some new businesses in town. Sanja Diablo, new bar, used to be where Radlers used to be. They have spent quite a bit of money inside the bar. It looks very nice. They haven't done the ribbon cutting quite yet, but they are open just for drinking at this point, but they are going to be having food. They're not ready for that yet, but very soon. And then also we have a Fine Health and Body Oils. It's 1165 Southfield, right by Electric. We have taken an old building and we have refurbished it, and it looks absolutely beautiful inside. Soaps, body oils, health stuff, vitamins. Please, if we want businesses in Lincoln Park, we have to go to them and we have to and visit them. So I highly recommend you check out new businesses. We have some things coming up from Parks and Recreation. Music Bingo will be on September 13th. Then we have Nightmare on 4th Street. The traditional trunk or treat will be on October 19th. This year there will be no vendors. It's going to be a completely kids event, which is going to be simply, they've got some really cool things planned. And then hold on to your pumpkins, because on November 2nd we'll do a pumpkin smash for the second annual. Last year was very successful, so that will be happening. Also, I've already announced this once, but I'm going to keep announcing it because it's something very special. Members of our own community have made it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so MC5 on October 12th. The museum is going to have an event at the band shell. It will have food, it will have music, and then we are also going to be honoring the family of the MC5. It's going to be a very special event. And speaking of special events, the Lincoln Park Moose will be having a charity dinner on September 21st at 4 p.m. It will be helping feeding kids in Mooseheart. They take kids from all over the country, and this is something very special that this event gets to be held in Lincoln Park. This is something that has been moved around the state over the years, but the fact that it is coming to our lodge in Lincoln Park is something very special. So please, come out and help kids. Also through this week, I met with the marijuana distributors in Lincoln Park, and they would like to have the opportunity to move off of their street there on Papolis. And I told them that the way our city ordinances are written right now, it can't be done, but they have agreed and they want us to look into it. So I'm going to ask the city attorney to look into this and then refer back to them what can be done or not be done. Simply that, and I think I've spoken with Ed. Do you have anything to say on that, Ed?
Well, Your Honor, we're going to ask counsel to allow us to defer also to the special attorney that drafted the original ordinance, just to avoid any appearance of any conflicts, primarily because the counsel for, what's it called, Moses Roses?
Yes.
Is an attorney of local repute who lives near the town and knows everyone here, and it'd be good if there was that extra wall, the Asian walls, they now call them properly, that would separate us from the attorney and the investigation. So if you have no objection, I'll take a referral to the attorney we used for the previous drafting the ordinance, and the litigation which we won. Supreme Court of City won. So the ordinance is standard, it's intact, it's the model for the state, and we'll see if there's any variance that can be provided, but let's do it properly.
Okay.
I hope everybody heard me, because this is the softest I've spoken in weeks.
Okay. Do you need a vote of the council to do that, or is that something?
My opinion, the authority's there in the charter, but it's up to council. If you have no objection, I'll proceed. If you have an objection, please let me know, and I'll come back for a resolution.
Does anybody object?
Through the chair, my only question, wasn't this a vote for the residents to have it in an industrial area? Wasn't that the original?
That's what it is, and that's why we're going to let the attorney decide. Is this something we can change? Is this something that has to be done again by the vote of the people? If so, we just want to know what
Gotcha.
can be done and what can't be done. We are not making any decisions at all at this point. Just, we want to know where legal ground, where stands.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
And Mayor, let me just follow up with the council president's question because it's appropriate. And I advise the mayor and the clerk and the city manager that prior to making any decisions to look any further, I would advise against council unilaterally making changes to the ordinance thinking they have the authority. And that's why, let's find out if there is any authority. If there's none, you'll know immediately. Thank you. I'm waiting for the applause.
Okay, moving on, we'll go on to resolve that the following items listed to the consent agenda be approved as presented to the city mayor and city council. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting of August 26th. Approve the accounts claims payable. Set the public hearing for 2023 CAPER. Attend the training for the city clerk. Approve lot combinations 1323 Liberty. Approve lot combination of 1764 Warwick. Solicit bids for the jail cell painting. Approve the annual renewal of the UADL.
I'll move.
Support.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Soar?
Can I make a comment on that? No?
There's usually no comments on.
Okay.
If you'd like to, something that you like pulled and talked about later on, we can do that.
I would prefer to do that on the lot combinations, please.
Okay. Then we will pull them to the end of the agenda.
I just have a comment. Sorry.
So, Mayor, let me make it clear, just you can't make comments in the middle of a roll call. That's why I said you can't comment.
Thank you.
I'm trying to stifle your free speech, Councilman, so.
Yeah, and it's perfectly okay to pull something and talk about later. It's,
Then I'll be a yes.
So Tobin
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
yes. Okay, I'm going to turn the next one over to City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As you, there we go. So we've been talking a lot this year about trash. Of course, our trash contract was up. We've talked about the disposal, all the different things that go into the charges. About a month ago, the City of Riverview Landfill approached the city, and they met with myself, the mayor, and John Kazoo, and discussed the future of the landfill. We did, back in January, I believe it was, we renewed our contract with them for the next 3 years. We don't know the future of the landfill. Right now, it is supposed to close in approximately 6 years. But what does that mean to all of us? That means much higher rates for trash hauling, because the trash will have to be hauled to a much further facility. So it's not only Lincoln Park, it will affect all downriver communities. So it would either go out to Canton or Carlton. So those costs, of course, will be passed, onto the city and again onto the residents. So our resolution here tonight is to support the operations of the Riverview landfill and the future of it. So with that, I will read this very long resolution. Whereas the City of Lincoln Park has grown to a population of 40,245 as of the 2020 U.S. Census, whereas the City of Lincoln Park incurs a substantial cost for residential trash pickup and disposal of the costs rise significantly each year, whereas earlier this year, the City of Lincoln Park renewed for a 3-year term its contract with the City of Riverview Land Preserve, for disposal of the City of Lincoln Park's waste at the RLP. Whereas the City of Lincoln Park has disposed of its waste at the RLP for many years due to the landfill's proximity, which helps control soaring trash hauling costs. Whereas in 2022, the RLP sought a permit from the Wayne County Facility and Inclusion Committee to expand its facility, which would have allowed the RLP to continue to service for years to come the trash disposal needs of the City of Lincoln Park, as well as other neighboring downriver communities. Whereas the Wayne County Facility Inclusion Committee denied the RLP's request to expand the facility. Whereas without the expansion of the RLP, it is estimated that within the next several years, the City of Lincoln Park will have to find another landfill to which to haul the city's waste for disposal. Whereas the inability in the future for the City of Lincoln Park to haul its trash to the RLP is likely to lead to an exponential increase in the trash hauling and disposal costs of the City of Lincoln Park and its residents. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Lincoln Park hereby declares its support and desire to the City of Riverview Land Preserve to be granted a permit by the Wayne County Facility and Inclusion Committee allowing expansion of the RLP so it can continue to service the trash disposal needs of the City of Lincoln Park as well as neighboring downriver communities for years to come.
I'd like to make the motion on that.
Support. Do we want it the full council?
Would the full council agree?
Absolutely. Yep.
Through the chair, is this, excuse me for my ignorance on this, but is Riverview voting on the landfill this November to expand? I see signs in Trenton and Riverview.
I believe it was last year they voted, and it was passed by the voters, but Wayne County, it may have even been 2 years ago, I'm not sure on the exact date,
never seen a
but
sign.
Wayne County denied its permit.
So how can we support this? What are we going to do if we all okay this? What's going to,
So we are going to send it off to Riverview, and they will send all of their letters of support to Wayne County.
gotcha. All right, I'm in. Thank you.
make this unanimous.
Okay. So Mayor Higgins,
Yes.
everybody else?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? None? Yay. Next.
Okay, instead of the city manager, this time we'll add the budget person step forward.
Thank you, Mayor. So here we are looking to approve a deficit elimination plan for the Michigan Department of Treasury. So we filed our annual audit report as of December 31st with the state. The city did receive some notification that we are required to file a deficit elimination plan. We have had to do this in past years for different funds. This year for the Water and Sewer Fund and the Information Technology Fund. I have had correspondence back and forth with the state, so they are asking us to formalize this to show what steps the city has taken and will continue to take to eliminate future deficits in these funds. So those are things such as switching rates, switching vendors for different things, tweaking the budgets where we can. And I do also have a budget transfer in here for the Information Technology Fund for the new year, which is a result of the new IT company that I'm recommending later in the agenda. So for those of you that don't know, the Information Technology Fund is a inter-service fund, so it is funded by all of the other funds of the city, so it pays for the technology of the city, so the website, the computers, all of those things that go into that. And the costs have risen quite substantially throughout the years. We did also have a new server that we had to get last year. So there's a lot of things that go into that fund, so one of the things we are doing current year and future years is raising the rates to the other funds to offset that. And then I do also have a budget transfer in here, so I'll read the resolution. It's resolved that the mayor and council approve the deficit elimination plan for the Information Technology Fund and the Water and Sewer Fund as attached for the fiscal year ending 6/30/2023. And be it further resolved that the finance director be as in hereby authorized to make the following adjustments to the fiscal year 24-25 expenditure line items as follows. Information Technology Fund account number 664915818, current budget $112,000, proposed $100,000, and transferring from other funds 6649156910001, current budget $0, $25,000 is the proposed budget.
I'll move.
Support.
Okay, I have a resident wants to ask something.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Richard Kudrak. I just wanted to read something kind of into the public record. Water and Sewer Fund. On June 30, 2023, the city had an unassigned fund balance deficit in the Water and Sewer Fund in the amount of $1,246,801. Many steps have been taken to eliminate any deficits in this fund. On July 1, 2023, Mayor and Council authorized a rate increase of 7%. On July 1st, 2024, Mayor and Council authorized another rate increase of 4.5%, so that's 11.5%. The FY 23-24 adopted budget has revenues exceeding expenditures by $2 million, which eliminates the deficit. That's fine. But we just paid you increased the water and sewer cost 11.5% because of the 40% water loss. I would much rather have my water and sewer fund go up 11.5% to pay a bond to get rid of this 40% water loss. This has been going on 20, 25, 30 years. I don't know. It's time to do something dramatic instead of keep raising water and sewer rates. So we're paying for something that we gain no benefits. We're just paying for water loss. Thank you.
I would respond that we are spending quite a bit of money this summer on water loss. And we've got money on grants to pay for and go after the water loss. And we have hired a new group of a three-man team that's going out looking for the water loss and going after it. So we are doing quite a bit of work on our water loss.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll add to that as well, as far as the projects that are currently going on, and we're spending upwards of $30 million. We've been fortunate, a lot of that is grant money, but as the grant money starts to dry up, we will have to look at potential bonds in the future to keep the work going.
And with that, is there anyone from the council that has any questions? Then we will call for a vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Yes. All right, now we'll call back to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This proposal is to approve the contract with the International Union of Operating Engineers, formerly the TPOAM DPS group. This group does also include the animal shelter technicians as well as the code enforcement officers as well. So we did recently enter into negotiations. We've had several meetings with the group. Overall, they went pretty well. This tentative agreement is structured pretty much the same as the other groups, and this is the final labor group, other than the department heads that will be coming up in the coming months. But as far as bargaining units go, this is the last contract that we had to settle. We have reached a tentative agreement with them, and the major components of the agreement are as follows. We did a year one wage adjustment of $4,000 across the group, year two, 3% increase, year three, 2% increase. The mechanic will be structured to be paid 7.5% above a PSW, which is a public service worker. And we added Juneteenth as a paid holiday in 2025. Added overtime language to require a certain percentage of overtime work to avoid some of those shortages that we sometimes have with main breaks and different required overtime that we need them to come in for. We did reinstate the incentive pay, which we call the SLIP, for $300 a year to discourage the abuse of sick time. We increased the city's contribution to their health savings account by 1%, and the tool allowance for mechanic was slightly increased, as well as the uniform allowance for DPS. And we changed the process of that from a reimbursement-based payable item to a straight payroll check. So that was where the increase came in to offset the taxes that they'll now pay. It makes the whole process of it much more seamless. The contract will result in an increase of approximately $110,000 in the first year, $44,000 in the second year, and $30,000 in the third year. This contract does put the group much more in line with surrounding communities. We did do comparables, and we worked with the labor group and compared comparables. We talked about the different rates that other cities, how they're structured, and this does put them in a much better position. So with that, the resolution reads, be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the tentative agreement between the city of Lincoln Park and the International Union of Operating Engineers. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the final agreement on behalf of the city of Lincoln Park.
I'll move.
Support.
Chair, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ms. Gregg, since you went over the highlights, what's the new starting rate then for a new worker at the DPS, whether it's water or roads?
I don't think I have the schedule. I'm going to say it's 54,000 is where they top out at. A PSW will top out right around there.
Don't have the hourly rate?
Yeah, the hour, no, I don't have that up.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so everybody knows at home, in case you hadn't recognized the name of the union, the members changed to a different union this time around, and that's why it's a new name.
Yes.
Hearing nothing else, I'll call for the vote.
Councilpersons Tobin?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll call the police chief up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Have before a resolution. Police Department is requesting that Council approve/renewal the contract between the City of Lincoln Park and the Lincoln Park School Board. This is a contract for our school resource officers. This contract renews our previous agreement, which expired June 30th, 2024, allowing 2 full-time police officers to work in the Lincoln Park schools. The school board will continue to pay a portion of the wages and benefits of both officers. This agreement has been beneficial for both the police department and the school board. These officers provide both safety and positive role models to the students. The cost of the officers, budget-wise, has already been inserted in the budget, and the school board will continue to pay a portion of the officers' salaries and benefits. It is recommended that mayor and council adopt this resolution. The resolution resolved that mayor and council approve and renew the police liaison agreement between the Lincoln Park School Board and the city of Lincoln Park. Be it further resolved, the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the liaison agreement.
Also move.
Support.
Hearing nothing, I'll call for the vote.
Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Councilperson Zoer?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Tobin.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is a bid for technology, so I'll turn that over to city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So the city recently went out to bid for IT services. We've been with the current provider for 5 years, so it was time to bid out the contract. After the bids were received, we had 4 bids that were returned. We brought back 2 new companies, ruled one of them out. So we were between 3 companies, and so we did hold interviews. We went through all of the processes of the city, discussed what we were looking for, listened to their proposal, and with that, we are recommending at this time to switch companies to High Tech. They presented a really good overall plan. I really liked a lot of their security features. Just overall, their proposal to the city was very favorable, and it does provide a cost savings as well, so that's an added benefit on top of that. So with that, I will read the resolution. Whereas the city recently went out to bid for information technology services, now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council authorize the city to enter into an agreement with High Tech for a 3-year term beginning October 1st, 2024 for a total cost of $264,659 over the 3-year term. Now be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the said agreement.
I'll move.
Support.
Hearing nothing, I'll call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zoer?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I will call our fire chief up.
Is it replace the Enertron?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This resolution is to purchase new fire hose through the Assistance of Firefighter Grant that was awarded to Wyandotte that we are part of. Lincoln Park Fire Department was awarded a Regional Assistance Firefighters Grant in August of 2024 for $270,382, including a 10% cost share. This was a regional grant including the cities of Flat Rock, Woodhaven, Rockwood, Ecorse, Wyandotte, and Southgate. The grant awarded funds to purchase new fire hose. Wyandotte Fire Chief Jeremy Oline formed a committee comprised of a representative from each municipality, and they established specs for the hose. The fire hose went out to bid on Sourcewell in the end of August 2024. With the results, the bids in and reviewed, it was the committee's recommendation to award the bid to MES of Sandy Hook, Connecticut. The fire hose does meet the specs of the committee and is in the best interest of the Lincoln Park Fire Department. Budget impact, the fire hose price for Lincoln Park is $37,829.70. The 10% cost share is $3,782.97. This will be paid to the city of Wyandotte as they are the host city for the grant. Funds will come from the fire department's Operation Fund 101-340-757. It is recommended that the mayor and council adopt a resolution to purchase the new fire hose for the price not to exceed $37,829.70 and a 10% cost share of $3,782.97. Any questions?
Can we read the resolution?
Sure.
Okay. Whereas the fire chief is requesting funds to pay for the regional assistance of the fireworks grant award purchase, the new fire hoses of $37,829.70, the 10% match at $3,782.97. Funds will be taken from the fire operations account of 101-340-757, whereas the selection of the new fire hose went through a bid process in the Wyandotte. It was recommended by the fire chiefs in Woodhaven, Flat Rock, Rockwood, Ecorse, Southgate, Wyandotte, and Lincoln Park to purchase hoses through MES Sandy Hook CT. Be resolved that the mayor and council of the city council of Lincoln Park approve the purchase of the new fire hose from MES of Sandy Hook CT for $37,829.70 with 10% matching funds of $37,82.97 to be taken from the fire operations account 101-340-757.
I'll move. Support.
And I would like to thank you, Chief, once again. You have done a great job at coming out and getting bids and taking care of the city and getting stuff and working with other cities, and I know that's not always easy.
No.
So I want to thank you for all the extra time you put in on stuff like this.
To the chair.
Okay, go ahead.
Chief, what percentage now, how much of the hose have we replaced already?
I'll be coming back at the next meeting for another approximately 40,000. So probably 50, a little bit over 50%. So by the end of the year, we will have replaced almost all of our hose.
And it's good for how long?
10 years, but if you get it tested every year, it can go up to 20.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Any other questions? I only have one other statement, and I've already thanked you for this, but I want to thank all the department heads because this summer they have brought in close to $100 million worth of grants into the city, going over and beyond and helping fund the city and finding ways to go around and to help the taxpayers. And I just want to give them all a big thank you for doing a wonderful job. With that, I'm going to call for a vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Soar?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
But I moved, it was wrong time.
Oh, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
So, seeing how we don't have a CBDG director, I'm going to turn this over to our city manager.
Thank you. So this resolution is to award the bid for the renovation of 1453 Buckingham. The city acquired the house from the county in 2022 under the first right of refusal. Bids were solicited and opened on September 4th of 2024. It is recommended that Smart Investments LLC be awarded the bid for $114,700 as they are the lowest bidder that meets all qualifications. Any change orders will be submitted and approved prior to the additional work being done. After the renovations are complete, the house will then be put up for sale to a low to moderate income family according to HUD's rules. Proceeds of the sales will come back to the CDBG program as program income. It is recommended that the Smarter Investments LLC be awarded the bid to renovate 1453 Buckingham in the amount of $114,700. Want me to read this?
Yeah, go ahead if you would like.
Whereas the city acquired 1453 Buckingham from the county in 2022 under the first right of refusal, and whereas bids were solicited to renovate the property and opened on September 4th, 2024. Therefore, be it resolved that Smarter Investments LLC be awarded the bid for the renovation of 1453 Buckingham in the amount of $114,700 as they are the lowest bidder and meet all qualifications. Funds to come from account number 249049721 HIP Housing Stock Improvement. Be it further resolved that the work change orders will be approved by the Community Planning and Development Office or the Building Department official.
I'll move.
Support.
Hearing nothing, we'll call for a vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And with that, I'll call up our DPS director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. John Kazoo, DPS Director. First item I have on the agenda is authorization to auction off a 2009 Ford dump truck, M63. The background is City of Lincoln Park DPS has a 2009 dump truck with a snowplow and a salt spreader, M63. Hasn't been used in a while. Right now it's having problems as far as runnability. We're not going to make any repairs to it. And a financial impact, there will be a positive impact on the budget when the equipment is sold. Proceeds will be credited to fleet management and sale of used equipment account 661-932-649000. Recommendation is to recommend that the mayor and council authorize the City of Lincoln Park DPS to auction off, sell, or scrap out the 2009 Ford dump truck M63 VIN 3 Frank Robert X-ray Frank 75, Paul 99, Victor 155665. The accompanying resolution. Be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize the City of Lincoln Park to auction off, sell, or scrap out the 2009 Ford dump truck M63 VIN, as already previous mentioned. Be it further resolved that proceeds will be credited to the fleet management sale for used equipment account number 661-932-649000.
To the chair. John, what's the mileage on that?
I do not know, sir.
And is there any equipment that can come off of that truck that the city can reuse?
Negative. Each of our trucks, as we purchase them, if we need them for snow duty, we purchase the new pumps and, the new plows and salt spreaders, because the attachments are as equally as old.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Do we have a vehicle that's going to be replacing this one, so we have the same?
No, actually, we already have that. We've mothballed this for a little while, but it's time to let it go.
So it's not going to make us have less vehicles on the street?
No, it will not.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mayor will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Thank you.
Again, my second item is authorization to trade in a 2008 Cat 928H loader, which is our M101. Background, City of Lincoln Park DPS recently purchased a 2024 Cat 926 RQ loader from Michigan Cat Corporation for a cost of $240,327.56, and is asking authorization to trade in our used 2008 Cat 928 loader M101 VIN 928 HCXK00282 for $48,000 to Michigan Cat Corporation. There will be a positive impact. The amount of the trade-in will be deducted from the sales invoice for the 2024 Cat loader. It is recommended that the mayor and council authorize the City of Lincoln Park DPS to trade in the 2008 Cat loader M101 to Michigan Cat Corporation in the amount of $48,000. The accompanying resolution is be resolved that the mayor and council authorize the City of Lincoln Park DPS to trade in the 2008 Cat loader M101 to Michigan Cat Corporation in the amount of $48,000. The amount of the trade-in will then be deducted from the sale invoice for the 2024 Cat loader.
I'll move. Support.
To the chair.
Yes.
You're kind of doing these backwards. Like, you're already purchasing something before we're removing something. Isn't there a way to do this and so that the council knows what's going on beforehand? Or is this coming out of the water fund and then now you're just pulling it out?
In all actuality, the loader comes out of multiple funds, because we use the loader to load, let's say, water department dump trucks. We use it to haul out the spoils. We also use it for road loading salt, so it comes out of multiple accounts, and also out of major and local accounts. But as far as, we had to, let's say, order this loader, because I don't know if you recall, but we just went through the COVID era, and loaders were difficult to get. So we had to make sure we had it before we got rid of the old one. I was very surprised that Michigan Cat offered us $48,000 for our 16-year-old piece of equipment.
I agree, but, I mean, I just don't want it to be a golden ticket that we're gonna hear this every time you need it.
Undoubtedly, you may hear it every time. It depends on the availability of getting the equipment. But if you recall, the 2024 cat loader was and is in the present budget as a CIP account. So you've seen it before.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hearing nothing else, I call for the vote.
Councilpersons Tobin,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Resolved that Andy Ross be hereby appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals, term to expire May 1, 2027.
I'll move.
Support.
Your Honor, if I
Yes, you may.
disclose that that is my son.
Mayor, would you care for me to disclose that I reviewed it, and I see no conflict, any conflict for any individual who's eligible to serve on the commission would appear at the time of a vote, and if there's a conflict for the two, even if they live in the same household, they would disclose that, and they know the penalties if they don't. So there is no conflict in appointing someone who happens to be a relative. He had no choice in his birth, so he should not be excluded.
And with that, we will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And all I would say about this is that it is very nice to see a young man stepping up for the city and getting involved, and welcome to the family.
Congratulations, Lillian.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
And I'm sure that your mom did try and turn your arm a little bit. All right. Resolved that Don Belinsky be hereby appointed to the Historical Commission to fill the unexpired term of Marit Salmon, term to expire May 1, 2026.
I'll move.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And I know you're in the back there, Don, and congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Don.
For those who don't know at home, Don runs our camera and is in the back room filming everything, and he's also the wonderful man who tapes all other stuff for the city, the concerts, all the events going on in the city. He does an amazing job, and thank you. That's just thank you. Keep that going. One more?
Couple more.
But
So this next one is for a block party that has been requested to block off Applewood between Capitol and Mayflower. The police department has recommended that this party be denied because it blocks off the street. It's a fairly busy street, and it does it after dark. They're asking for this party to go from 4 o'clock until 9 o'clock at night. Our ordinance requires that it be until dusk or 9 p.m., whichever comes first. And dusk at Halloween time happens way earlier than 9 p.m. So we are recommending that this be denied. So the resolution is resolved that the block party request for the residents abutting Applewood between Mayflower and Capitol on October 31st, 2024, from 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. be denied per the recommendation of the police department.
I'll move. Support.
Through the chair, Your Honor. Yes. Quick question, Chief. If I'm not mistaken, and I kind of think I know the area, between Applewood, between Cal Mayflower, there's no houses there. They're all corner houses, correct?
Correct, yeah, they'd be on Mayflower and Capitol.
In the resolution, I think it said only 4 people signed for a block party. So my initial question was, how many people does it take to have a block party on a normal block of 16 houses?
I think it's just the majority,
Majority?
by
So-
majority.
So the fact that just because 4 people signed up, it wasn't the deciding factor, it was because it's Halloween and people...
Halloween, it's the busiest night of the year for pedestrians. Applewood goes from Southfield to New York, so this would be one section of Applewood, which is a main thoroughfare for that,
I get it.
that area.
I'm good, thank you.
Hearing nothing else, we'll call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have to go back to E and F of the consent agenda.
Okay, so do you want me to read the resolution?
Yeah, you want to read, go
Okay,
ahead.
Sure. Whereas the Office of the Assessor is responsible for the review and processing of applications pertaining to the division and combination of platted lots within the city, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the combination of parcel number 4501602, 1169000, 1327 Liberty. The legal description follows, to be combined with parcel number 4501602, 117000, 1323 Liberty. And that legal description is attached there as well.
To the chair.
Okay, well, I'm going to,
Need a mover and
I'll
support.
make a mover so that we can discuss it.
I'll support.
Okay. So now, Eric, you had something you wanted to say?
I had 2 questions on this. First of all, was it buildable lots? As far as our ordinances are concerned. And second of all, was the lots offered to anyone other than neighboring houses?
So the lots are always offered to the 2 neighbors next to them. If it's not a buildable lot, if it's buildable, we don't offer it to the neighbors. But yes, so one may not want the property, the other one may, or it can be split and both of them can receive a portion of it.
But wasn't there a structure on these properties? I think there was on one of them.
Most likely, but even if there's a structure, it doesn't mean it's a buildable lot. Sometimes the older homes were built on smaller lots.
Okay. We're just always trying to find affordable housing for young adults, and I just want to make sure that we're not taking anything away from our young adults.
Understood.
Thank you.
Any other questions? With that, we'll call for the vote.
Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
And Tobin?
Yes.
Thank you. The next one is another lot combination. Whereas the Office of Assessor is responsible for the review and processing of applications pertaining to the division and combination of platted lots within the city, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the combination of parcel number 4500503018700, commonly known as 1764 Warwick, with the attached legal description, to be combined with parcel number 4505030018600, vacant Warwick land, with the attached legal description, and parcel number 4505030185000, Warwick vacant land, with the attached legal description, and parcel number 4505030059009, Warwick vacant land, with the attached legal description.
We'll move.
I'll support. Do you have a question?
No, you answered it on the first one, so I'm good now.
Okay. Then we'll call for the vote.
Councilperson Zor?
Yes.
Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Councilpersons Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Tobin?
Yes.
Thank you.
With that, going into the city managers, I'm gonna jump in with a question right off the bat real quick, because this is something we've discussed multiple times around City Hall, and I know we started a plan and then it stopped, and we have a lot of lots throughout the city that we are taking care of that we would like to dispose of. Where are we at with that plan?
Right, so we have a practice in place, which is what council is approving tonight for lots that are not buildable. So it is offered to the neighbors of the lot. It's the buildable ones that we have to come up with a policy, and I've reached out to a couple other communities. It seems like a lot of communities are in the same boat where they don't have a formal policy. But we need to come up with a formal policy on how we're going to handle these. So that is something that is being worked on. It's in the preliminary phase of it, but we need to adopt something to say this is how we're going to do the bidding procedures, and, you know, are there any requirements? Are there any things that we want, any reasons we would want to exclude somebody, what's going to be done with the lot? But we primarily want to reach the lots that are buildable, so maybe some new homes can be built in the community, and we can market them.
Do we have a timeline?
I don't have a definite timeline, no.
Okay, this is something that I know I've talked about endlessly, so I know this is something I just think we need to put this on a faster burner.
Yeah, and I know I've been approached by a couple individuals, even prior to being city manager, in regards to this type of thing, wanting to know how they can go about purchasing city property.
And also, in answering another one of your questions, why we're looking at the trailer park, and they're talking about bringing in smaller homes there, the mobile homes. We had talked about putting them somewhere else in the city, and that is something else with the smaller lots that we've talked about that we are looking at. So I just thought I would bring that up, why we're talking about, because you were bringing up looking for homes for younger people and making something more, you know.
Right, and that's one of the items that I've discussed with the planner. It's come up a couple of times. The way our ordinance is written, it's pretty restrictive as to mobile homes. Modular homes, I guess, is what they would be bringing in, but it is something that we are likely going to have to amend our ordinance in order to allow, because there are so many more modern-looking ones now than in the past.
To the chair?
Yes.
You understand there's two types of homes, though. It's not just the mobile homes or modular homes. There's another structure that's more of, it sets on a foundation. It doesn't set on a frame.
Right. There's several different things out
Trailer
there.
park wants to bring sets on a frame, correct?
Right, that's completely different than we're talking about for the neighborhood, but
Right.
that's how the conversation came about, and I know we talked about it, so I just want to inform the whole council that we are looking at different things.
Through the chair, I have a resident that's asking, on the tax bills, we had that amount of money from the,
Flood.
and he wanted to know if that money was also applied to businesses' tax.
Yes.
It was?
Yep, it's across the board.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, why don't we hold off and let her give her report before we start asking questions? I know I started that, but it's my fault. But
I just have just a couple quick items to update you on. We did receive the official notification that the city was awarded the pension grant from the state of Michigan. We were actually, yes, it's very good news. As you remember, last year we received several million. This time it's not quite as lucrative, but we were eligible to receive 2.7 million. We were, because of the funding and the way they spread it out with the different communities, we were awarded $1.364 million. So that's great for our funding, and it'll keep keep the trend of increasing our funding in both pension systems going in the right direction, along with all of the changes that have been made throughout time. So we do, of course, have requirements that we have to meet. We can't make any increases to pension, so that's a good thing because it keeps the system stable. So we have to report once a year. We have to send reports to the state on that as well. So would have been nice to get the 2.7, but we'll take the 1.3. And who knows, maybe next year there'll be more. And then, speaking of grants, I've been working with John and Hennessy. We've been looking at all of the different grants. We are investing heavily into our infrastructure, and there's a lot that goes into the grant. So Hennessy's done a great job in working with us and we're making sure that we have all of the different grants allocated according to the timelines. Of course, ARPA has different restrictions on when we have to spend the money, and just keeping all of the documentation in line with all of these grants, it's quite a process. So we've been working through that. And other than that, it's just been the daily business as usual. So I would be happy to take any questions.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I know that earlier you had commented on the 40% water loss and what is being done, and I want to thank you for that. It's just a hard pill to swallow, so I'm going to continue to ask for updates, and so we keep the public.
I can tell you, as of the last report I looked at, it's right there still. Hasn't changed.
Thank you. Through the chair.
Yes.
Lisa, although we have had less water main breaks, have we not?
Yes, overall, yeah. But we know that there's likely ones out there that we don't know of yet that are leaking within the system. And then, of course, we talked about the meter issues that contributes a little bit to that as well. So there's many factors. I think we had all hoped that by this point, with all of the infrastructure upgrades, we'd start to see some reduction, but it's going to take time. We have a lot more upgrades to do to the system.
But our water loss team is out there already? Or?
So I think John was going to talk a little bit about that. We don't currently have that up and operational yet because we're trying to we had to bid it in-house initially.
Okay.
We had a group of employees we were bringing on.
Okay.
So.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ms. Griggs, earlier you gave a report on the Sears site. You want to let our residents know what's going on there briefly?
Yes, so the demolition, all of the structures have been taken down, so they are doing the cleanup. The tower was taken down last week. That was the last big piece of it. So they are moving forward. They have some slight revisions that they have to give the city back as far as the landscaping goes with the plans that they submitted. So the planner's been working with them on that. But the overall process is moving forward. The Chick-fil-A is still on target to go in. So the permits should be going through with that here in the coming week or two. The car wash is moving forward. So yeah, it's moving along.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair.
I think Maureen beat you.
I asked a few weeks ago about the website. Is there any updates on that? Because you said a couple of weeks and it's been
The website, to upgrade the website? No, so it'll come before council when we have to get permission to go out for bid. So it's,
I thought we'd already done that.
no. So council authorized as part of the ARPA funding that was going to be slated in there. But yeah, it hasn't come before council to authorize us to go out to bid.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
To the chair. Last week, or the last meeting, Councilman Salcido asked about the car wash that's going in next to CVS. That's a go already, I assume. Looks like they're breaking ground.
Yep. They've been approved.
Yeah, that's been through the planning commission,
Yeah, we
yes.
approved it on planning, so they're moving forward.
Yeah, quite some time ago.
Kind of wish we had a report from planning that filled us in as well. We don't know till it's already a done deal.
Through the chair, if I may, are the planning commission agendas are not even, I think, available on the website?
No, I believe they're just emailed out to the board members. As far as the minutes go, we could,
Make sure the minutes get in?
Get the minutes up, but that doesn't sound like that would solve what you're looking for. You're wanting to see it ahead of time, before it goes to planning?
No, but I'd like to know what planning's doing.
What they approved?
The minutes are online.
The minutes are online, and we can
For
get
planning? Yeah.
copies of the agenda. We can get you guys copied on that so you can see what's coming up.
Thank you.
I have another question, though. Lisa, what is going in at Emmons behind ACO? Or ACE? That's all?
I think that's all construction set up, yeah,
It's
for
just
the
aging?
construction projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a water main scenario.
That's where we're lining the water mains and what part of what we've talked about, that we're spending the $20 to $30 million on looking
Yes.
for stopping the leaks.
Okay,
That's it. That's just where we're storing it,
okay,
you know.
okay.
The chair, do you know what's going on, what's being brought into the old billiards place?
Yes. If I might.
I don't know. so
That's going to be a hockey store. It's
That's right.
Yeah, so it's a hockey store. It's been before the planning commission and it's been approved. But it's going to be a complete hockey store.
Okay.
Any other questions for the city manager? Then we will go to the DPS, where it's our director has a report.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Before the meeting started, I gave each one of you a handout for the DPS, and this covers what we've done June, July, and August. As you can see, we are understaffed, and as been brought up before, the HR has tried to bring people on, but we haven't been successful in doing that, and we don't have a whole lot of people that are applying. But we've been through that before. Now, as far as the roads, we've swept 690 lane miles. What that boils down to is we sweep all 5 garbage routes once a month. Coal patching, we had 156, let's say, phone-in potholes that have been requested to be filled. We've taken care of those. We've put out over 100 tons of coal patch. 29 street signs. We've replaced 35 street signs. We've even done animal shelter sign, singular sign. We're also looking at signage for the front of the building and at the entrance of the building, but we're not yet there with that process. We've gone out, and this has been brought up before because of the COVID. We didn't get out and do a lot of the arrows at some of the major intersections. We've painted the arrows, we've done the stop bars, we've also done the crosswalk lines, we've also painted in a 2-block perimeter around the schools. A couple of the schools we have not been able to do just because of the construction activity. And right now we're holding off on the street striping the center lanes for the same reason, because of the construction. And I'll use, let's say, Fort Park as an example. Right now, that's part of where one of the water main projects is taking place, and the road is being used on a regular basis by the construction crews. So we're going to hold off until the latter part, just before winter, to try to stripe that. G-runs, we do that every Monday and Friday, and that's done throughout the year. Water, we've had 25 breaks. Water services, 18. Hydrants flush, 69. Backfill purchase for water main breaks. We purchased 110 tons of backfill. Sand purchase for the same water main breaks, 200 tons. Sewer backed up basement callouts, 55. Sewer jetting, we do monthly, let's say, areas where we have a larger deposits of maybe grease, and we do those once a month, plus additional. We've had to go out and repair 2 of our pumps. Flooded basement, July, August, significant rain events caused over 65 reports of flooded basements. Branches and trees, we've had 3 removals and 100-plus branches with some of the summer storms that we've had. Lincoln Park days, we've had to set up and to tear down. Road contractual service, tree services. Tree services began on 9/24/24 with a budget of $390,000 for the 24-25 budget year. Current work orders, we've got 163 removals, 157 trims, and 23 stumps that we're going to have to remove, and we still have 37 more trees to evaluate. And that's what the DPS has been doing. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I absolutely have some questions. You mentioned the flooding.
Yes, sir.
And I understand we had a meeting today.
Yes, sir.
And you were going to be able to give me some answers on some of the flooding in the neighborhood. The neighborhoods are quite unhappy.
Well, that's going to be presented through the Hennessy engineering firm.
Okay.
which will be shortly following my presentation.
All right.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I have questions. John, as I was coming in, there's a pothole on Garfield and Fort Street.
On Garfield or
On
Fort Street?
On
Garfield, all right.
But right there at, just before Fort Street. When you turn in, it's right there. And there's also one just before you hit Fort Park. I see that, you did, where was it?
156
Yes.
work orders? Yes.
Yes. So where does that put us on the list? Do we still have a lot? Are we,
That's on the revolving list.
do we have
It'll
any that
never
are-
stop until once we maybe get everything replaced.
Do we have any that are over 30 days?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge? Okay, good. Very good.
And we will put these two onto our list.
And then, since we mentioned the hydrants, have we gotten the hydrants that we wanted painted?
No.
Not
That's
yet.
part of what we haven't been able to secure. If you recall this, Mayor and Council, we thought we had a positive engagement through the high school, but the unfortunate part, what I never thought about, and I will make you bet none of you thought about, this body opened up us to hire 6 people to paint hydrants. Come to find out, through the high school, none of them had driver's license. Who would have ever thought that?
Right.
And when I was a youngster, which was a while ago, we couldn't wait to get a driver's license at the age of 16. Now, the 16, 17, 18-year-olds are not going after driver's license. And in order for them to get from hydrant to hydrant to hydrant, we're going to put them in one of our dump trucks. But they didn't have driver's license. And that's part of the difficulty we're finding trying to hire people.
So with that, if I could turn to the city manager. Lisa, have we considered doing a career fair just in-house, for the city?
We have done the high school ones over at the high school. I think that was back in the spring.
Yes, it was.
I know police, fire, DPS goes over there.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To the city.
Might be an interesting prospect, though, that we might be able to do one at the band shell. Or
Yeah, exactly.
Might be something we could consider.
Yep.
We're paying a person that's supposedly getting director pay for being human resources. Why doesn't that person attend these meetings to be able to answer questions as to hiring, what's been done, what's not been done? I'm just curious.
Well, I oversee the department as the city manager, so I can report to you on all of those, and I've tried to. I can send you a full report of all of the hires and the process we went through, the timelines and everything.
With the talent we have at the high school, it just irks me that we can't find any talent in our city.
Yeah, and quite often they seem to be geared, they get really excited with the police and fire departments.
Really?
Through the chair,
I think they think the rest of municipal work is not as exciting.
To the chair.
Not excited about running around the sewer, I don't know.
it's okay.
But if I could, I was here for part of your earlier work session meeting, and you talked about looking to the school. It's a commendable thought. What I have found, unfortunately, is for an auto mechanic, Henry Ford Community College has a program in auto mechanics. They've got a 2-year bachelor's. Wayne County has the same thing, Wayne County Community College. I went to both schools. I talked to the dean of each department. I also talked to the president of those institutions. And I took it upon myself to offer, if you see maybe somebody who's got talent, but maybe has that need they need help with maybe financing it, I asked them to give me a call. Because I would help pay for their education if they gave us so much of their time once they graduated and they had state licensing. You know how many calls I got from each one of those institutions? 0. Very disappointing. Then going back to, as I've already said, the high school. I thought, like you did, Mr. Zor, that'd be a great spot for talent. And you know what? They didn't have driver's license. I never thought about that.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes, I believe you're next.
Thank you. 2 quick questions.
Yes, sir.
Please. The tree list, is that online, up and running?
Yes, it is.
So a resident who has a tree on the list, they can look it up?
Yes, they can.
Good. And is it now the time to buy rock salt? Is it on sale? How are we looking on a stock of rock salt right now?
Even our rock salt, our barn is full. And I have to get in on the bid process, and I have to tell in the bid process how many tons of salt we're going to purchase for this coming winter. How do you know that? But we have to commit to it, and we've been quite successful within our commitment of every year of purchasing what we've had to, because if we didn't utilize that amount of salt, we would still have to purchase it.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Why the information, the trees are up? I sent you an email today about a dangerous tree. I hesitate to give an address on TV, but I'd appreciate it if you'd look into that for me.
I will, but I have not yet.
Okay. I know you were in and out of the office today, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, to the chair, John?
John?
Just two quick comments. On the driver's license for high schools, since I work with much younger people in my lab, I have a feeling it's often a matter of the expense of getting a driver's license now compared to when we got our licenses. It's been quite a while since the high schools offered driving school. And then for the 100-plus fallen branches that you listed on your report, I would like to thank your call-out crew, because one of those branches did fall pretty close to the front of my house on the Saturday before Labor Day, and it was taken, after I called the police non-emergency line, it was taken care of very professionally, very quickly, and I did appreciate their efforts.
I'm glad to hear that. We're still out picking up branches.
So, that's all.
Any other questions?
I think you made it through the day.
Yes, but the day's not over.
Oh, hold on, because I'm sure there's going to be more. Go. You can go sit down. Go sit down.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. As you can see, driving through the city, there's a lot of construction going on. And as Lisa pointed out, a lot of that is due to grants. So there's been a lot of work searching for grants and actually applying for them. And the good news is getting them. To start with, I'm going to just cover kind of the ACO agreement. As you know, we're under consent order on the sanitary sewer system. You'll be seeing our crews out in sections J and L, which is the southwest side of the city. They'll be doing smoke testing. Once that's completed, we'll be putting flow monitors into those areas to report back to Eagle how successful the sewer lining program has been in those areas. The Ryapel rehabilitation sewer, all that work's been completed. RJ&J replaced about 120 feet of sewer that was collapsed in that area. Then we went through and lined both the sanitary and storm sewer. So that work's all completed, and everything's working well on that. We had, as some of the grants, we've had the Clean Water State Revolving Loan, which was a 2024 project which Safeway was working on. We ended up cleaning about 120,000 feet of sewer. So that, once we do that, we look for defects in the sewers, and then we use that to determine what sewers need to be lined. This year, with the 2024 program, we've also lined about 23,250 feet of sewer. Again, that's to help reduce the I&I, avoid sewer collapses for future. We've opened the animal shelter this year, so that was a good thing. Solely did the building portion, and Great Lakes Contracting did all the concrete work for that area. The 2023-24
water main project. That's the one that was in the Gregory Stewart, Pagel, Merrill area. That work's been completed. We're just finishing up all the restoration in that, on that site. The DSMI was also a grant, you may recall. That grant was to do a random search of all houses, or inspection, I should say, not search, but random inspection of all houses to determine how many houses in the city of Lincoln Park may have lead service leads that need to be replaced. Our program, for this program, we did 377 random samplings, so a lot of residents did receive those requests, and I thank the residents. They were very cooperative, sending photos of their meters so that we can determine whether it's lead or copper, plastic, or whatever it may be. We're approximately 90% done with that program, and we have about 12 homes remaining, and that's just the ones where we have to go in and just double check to make sure if they're lead or copper. Moving on, the PRV program, that is out for bids right now. We'll be installing the PRVs are pressure reducing valves. I know that's been discussed here in the past. That'll also help with our hopefully help with our water breaks. What I'm hearing from Mr. Kazoo is that he's getting spikes in the system. Those are causing problems with our water main system. So we have that out for bids right now, and the bids will be open on September 18th for that. For the road reconstruction, last year's was kind of a carryover this year as well. Last year we did the Richmond from Hazel to Dix. This year we finished up LeBlanc, basically from 4th Street to River Drive. Not necessarily a grant, but I guess it is a grant. We received money from MDOT for the bridge replacement of Emmons, so we're in the process of doing the design of the Emmons Bridge replacement. That'll have a 2025 construction. As far as grants, Lisa kind of touched on it earlier again. We received $60 million in grants for water and sewer work. So we've been working to try to get our sewers and waters rehabilitated. This year for the clean water, which is a sewer, we received $16,880,000 in grant money. That includes the rehabilitation of the Lincoln and Emmons pump station, which was about $11.5 million of that money. The remainder of the money will again go towards cleaning and televising and lining sewers throughout the city. We also received grant money for the drinking water sewer program. We're working on phase 1. That's the one that's under construction right now. That project came in at about $6 million. Again, we're focusing on areas that have the most water main breaks to try to help reduce that. That project is about 95% complete. There's 3 streets remaining on that. In the handout I gave you, there's a list of all the streets that we're working on and the rough footage of how much water main will be replaced in those. For the new project this year, we also have I guess that was phase 1, and we're looking at doing about 27,000 feet of water main. So in that first phase, we did about 11,000 feet. The second phase will be about 16,000 feet. That one is out for bids right now. We'll be receiving bids on September 18th for that. And basically with the program we've put together, we're anticipating reducing about 100 water main breaks per year and replacing about 350 lead service lines throughout the city. The city also received a CDBG disaster relief grant. That is going to be for the sewer work again. The total grant cost or amount was about $3 million. We have 2 projects going for sewer lining. Each project was about $1.5 million. Right now, we're just waiting for the final approvals from Eagle, and once we get that, we'll put that under design and we'll get that out for bids. the CDB regular program, City of Lincoln Park program, we're going to be looking at rehabilitating 4 parking lots throughout the city. That would be the City Hall / Police Department parking lot. We'll be doing behind the library area there, the band shell, and the community center. Depending on how much funds we have, we're going to try to get all of those reconstructed this year and use our CDBG money for that. The city, again, going with grants, received a MDOT grant through the DDA program, and that will be the reconstruction of 7 streets, and those will be from Fort Park to Fort Street. There's 7 of those. Again, those are listed on your the handout I gave you, so I'm not going to go through all of those. The utility program, the utility repair program, the contractor's done about 130 of those already this year, completed the repairs for those. There's approximately 50 left, or 100 left, 50 from still remaining from the earlier phase 1, and another 50 for phase 2. So we're plugging away trying to get all those completed. For road reconstruction, this year we started on that. We did Horger from Porter to Dix. A couple of the other roads are in the water main replacement program, so that'll be Rose and Detroit Street. Those are under construction right now. For the resurfacing program, we have 3 of those that we're working on right now. St. John's from Fort Street to Ferris, Fort Boulevard from Fort to Lafayette, Mayflower from Electric to Elliott. The sectioning program's moving along as well. We've done Mayflower Court, Allard from Dix to Winchester, Marquise from Riopelle to Allen Park City Limit, or Lincoln Park City Limit, Allen Park City Limit, Fort Boulevard, Wilson to Gould, and then several intersections at Chandler and Park, Cuppin and Howard, Ferris and St. John's. And then the last thing I have to report is we're going to be submitting another letter of intent to Eagle on November 1st. Again, those are to give projects that we're looking to do both in the water and sewer. We're hoping again that they'll have a lot of grant money or principal forgiveness money, and we can keep moving forward with improving the infrastructure in the city of Lincoln Park. With that, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
To the chair.
Yes.
For this last page, could you just explain for the residents the differences when it comes to the road, what reconstruction, resurfacing, and sectioning?
Yes. Yeah, so sectioning, we go through and we pick areas of roads that are in decent, fair shape, and we try to look at those and just replace sections of the roads, pieces of the road, so that we can bring that road up to a fair or good condition. So that's a sectioning program. The resurfacing program, we look at streets that are probably more closer to the poor, but where they're not structurally defective. So what we do is we go through and we'll replace sections of concrete. So this is an asphalt program. So we'll replace sections of concrete under the asphalt that are all broken up. And then once the sections are replaced with concrete, then we'll resurface the entire road, usually with about 2 inches of asphalt cap. And the reconstruction is when you see them completely remove the entire road and the stone base, and we go back and replace it with new stone base and new concrete roads. Those are the roads that are more commonly in a poor condition, and we try to bring those up, obviously, to an excellent condition. So the goal is to try to use all 3 methods to try to bring the roads, as many roads as possible, into a fair condition for the assessment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
To the chair.
Yes.
When, do you have any idea when the parking lots that you're planning on having redone will start, and when the 7 roads down in the DD area will start?
The parking lots right now, because Eagle requires they call it a SHPO, which is an environmental clearance. So we've applied for that, and we have to wait for that grant. It's kind of a tough thing because the Eagle only recognizes certain firms to do that work. And so we submit the paperwork to them, but we have to wait for them to complete the paperwork. And there's only a few in the state of Michigan that do it, and we have to go to one of those groups. So the parking lots may not be completed until next year, but we anticipate having those out for bids later this year and starting construction probably in the spring of next year. The 7 roads, we anticipate that the bid opening will be like I said, September 18th. So depending on the contractor's schedule, I would anticipate that we'll be moving forward on those probably in sometime in October, and hopefully have those completed by the end of the year.
So you think they'll be done before we freeze and snow? And
we're hoping to, for sure. It's all weather dependent and really contractor schedule dependent. We are hoping that they will. We'll at least for sure get some of them done this year, and hopefully all of them. That's our goal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the council? So everybody knows, I have asked Lisa to put this on the website so people understand what's going on with their tax money and with the grant money that Tennessee has helped us get. We have done an amazing a lot of stuff in the last 2 years, and I want the citizens to know that, we are working hard to get things done.
Yeah, and a lot of thanks go out to Lisa and John Kazoo. Without their help, we wouldn't be able to secure these grants. They provided all the background information we needed, and I know Lisa's gone through a lot of stuff trying to make Eagle happy with the requirements. So I thank them for all their help, for sure.
Thank you.
Before you leave, can
Oh, wait, 1 second. She has one more question.
Is there any updates on anything that you've discovered or found about the issues down the Pago area, the flooding areas?
That's what John's here for.
Okay. I'm sorry, you can sit down.
And I'm gonna say this as you walk up here, the citizens in Lincoln Park are livid, and they absolutely are right to be livid, and the city has to have something taken care of, and that's why I've asked you to be here tonight. And let's please, I know you talked to John earlier today and you gave him some information, and I know you've been testing in the neighborhood, so please keep please and let us know what's going on.
Certainly. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and the residents of the community. I'm here specifically to talk about the flooding that's really occurring in the triangular area between Lincoln and Emmons pump stations and the River Drive Chamber. The River Drive Chamber is fed by 3 points. It's Emmons, Lincoln, and then the district within that triangle, and then that goes out to the RTB. Obviously, this first came to our attention when we had an issue with Emmons and RTB at the same time, and that's what really brought this highlight to us. And we've had quite a few interactions with a lot of the residents. We've done an extensive amount of testing through there. It's a variety of testing methods. We've surveyed it. We've done a lot of smoke testing. And smoke testing, just to let the public know what that means, is we drop what we refer to as a smoke bomb into a manhole, and we blow smoke through there, and we can see where smoke comes out of the ground, and then we know there's an illegal connection to it and things like along those lines through there. That's smoke testing. And then we've also done quite a bit of surveying work through there as well. And on Saturday, actually, we put in flow meters, which will regulate flow, the volume of flow, the velocity of flow, and the height of flow. So those are 3 things in hydraulics that we're very interested in to see how they work. I will tell you, we have found a number of issues within that particular triangle. I'm going to call it a triangle, for lack of a better term, between Lincoln, Emmons, and the RTB. We have found a number of small issues. we found some substantial issues. One thing is that we found a bulkhead, and I will tell you, this area of the city is very complex because the sewer maps that we have do not reflect what's actually present through there, and that's for a series of reasons, I believe. One is it was originally built as a combined system where excess flows went right out into the river in the Ecorse drain. Obviously, Eagle stopped that, and then there was a substantial work improvement done in the 80s, and we have the original design drawings from that. Well, what they designed and what they actually built were two different things, and so now we're reconstructing those drawings a little bit. We've got a very good handle on it now in this particular area, but we did find two significant inflow locations from the LeBlanc drain is one. So there used to be, when the system was originally built, probably in the 40s, excess flow would be discharged right to the LeBlanc drain and go right out to the Ecorse Creek. Raw sewage would just do that. You know, that was the way they addressed it at that point through there. Well, in the 80s, we blocked that up. Well, we were able to find through a manhole that's not even supposed to be connected into our sanitary system, but we've popped all these tops, and I think the residents have seen us out there quite a bit. And we found one inflow, which is currently running about 500 gallons a minute into our system of drain water through there. And we are scheduled to replace that, correct that on Thursday. We've got a contractor coming in. This contractor, to show you how complex it is, will have to have a wetsuit on and use hydraulic cement to actually correct this. So we've got that set up on for Thursday. We also did find a series of catch basins that are connected to the sanitary system, which were supposed to be removed in the 80s. And but now we found out that they are not, and we're going to correct that as well immediately with either John's Crews or RJ&J, who we have our emergency contractor with. But we also have discovered that the pump station, the RTB, is not operating the way we'd like it to operate, obviously. And candidly, it's probably at its end of its life cycle for the pumps. They're over about 41 years old through there, and we're finding that the floats, and what I mean by the floats is kind of like in your when you flush your toilet and you can hear your toilet run, it's a float that stops the water from running so the tank doesn't overfill in your toilet. Well, that's how our pump station is set up. There are 5 pumps that are to operate. You know, one comes on, the second one comes on, third, fourth, and fifth. There's a 6th pump that is always just a standby pump. And that the purpose of that is so that the pumps don't burn themselves out. One pump is always given a break while the other 5 run, and then once the next rain event kicks on, they all change sequence. What was pump 1 becomes pump 0, then what was pump 2 becomes pump 1, and that kind of identifies how that operates. Well, the floats are not operating correctly, and we can determine that. And we had one event last Thursday, a week ago Thursday, was that right? The 28th.
The 28th, that was a bad one.
Yeah, the 28th. And so we looked at the wet well there, the wet well at 217. The wet well had a depth of 11.4 feet. So it's a 32-foot wet well. And a wet well is referred to as, that's where the water comes into. The pumps take the water out of the wet well and put it into the retention basin. So they lift it up. And so it's a 32-foot deep wet well. It was at 217. It was 11.4 feet. The first pump kicked on. The second pump kicked on at 218. A minute later, the water had risen to 12 feet. The third pump kicked on at 220. So this is 3 minutes after the first pump kicked on, and the wet well was at 2.85 feet. So we've climbed 1.4 feet in the wet well in 3 minutes. And then at 2:24, so now we're at 7 minutes beyond when the first pump kicked on, we're at 13.4 feet. We're 2 feet. Now we're increasing that. And then at 2:27, we're at 14.25 feet. The sixth pump didn't kick on because that's the way the system was originally designed to operate. And the Emmons pump station, just to give you an idea, kicked on at 2:15 a.m. that day. So all of this started at 2:17 after the Emmons kicked on, and then Lincoln kicked on at 2:45. And the difference between Emmons and Lincoln, and that's interesting actually, it's a half hour apart. That just shows you the difference of intensity within a rain event, the storm cells that actually can cover a city. So we were getting much more water at Emmons than we were at Lincoln. And it didn't kick on for another half hour at Lincoln, just to give you kind of a time delay through there. But what needs to happen, and we've changed our operating system, is that once we get a rain event, and we think that Lincoln and Emmons are going to kick on, we have to manually be at the RTB. That has not been the case before. Yeah, and we have to physically kick that sixth pump on and create that. And identifying that we have two pumps there that actually kick on and they won't shut off. I mean, when I talk about we're at the life cycle of our pump system, I do want to talk a little bit, though, about what has been done to date. The council has authorized a detailed analysis, which we're underway with right now, on all of these pumps and the electrical system through there. That report will be ready by the end of October for the community. We've rebuilt 3 pumps. We have 3 pumps that we're proposing to totally remove and replace. And these 3 pumps, and we're looking to create an automation system so that John's staff, which, you know, I understand there's a lot of frustration with the community, and rightfully so, but John's staff has done really well. I tell you, Ronnie and Chris really work hard at this system, and they're there all hours of the night and things like that. But now that we have a process in place, but our goal is within, you know, a period of time is to have a complete automated system. So we have 6 pumps. We're looking to replace 3 pumps. We're going to increase their horsepower substantially so that they can remove this water from the wet well so quickly. And each pump is about 350 horsepower. So that it's essentially a car engine on every pump, just to give people an idea of scale of these things through there. Other things that we're looking to do is to automate the level sensoring system within the wet well and use a radar system so that we can tell real-time data exactly how much water is in the wet well, because that is a little bit of art and science for Ronnie and Chris's group to determine right now through there. So I will tell you that the 2 areas that we found are substantial inflow locations. We're going to alleviate that, but we need to man this station every time there's a rain event through there. And we've worked that out with John's group through there. And once we get these new pumps in there, and the reason that I can't give you a timeline on these pumps is these are not off-the-shelf pumps. They will have to be custom made. Pump manufacturers don't make pumps of this size and just leave them on the shelf, right? So I don't know the exact lead time of that, and then we're doing a detailed analysis on the electrical system at the RTB to see if there are upgrades in the electrical system that have to predate the pumps, because they're going to use a lot more wattage, a lot more voltage, and things along those lines. We think that there's enough power at the station through there, but we have to verify that. And I'm here to answer any questions. I'm sure there's going to be a number of questions from the public? Or?
Look, I'm just going to state it flat out. You know, our citizens deserve to have a dry basement. They don't deserve to have flooding. Whatever it needs to be done, it needs to be done. You've given us, you know, this start, and I appreciate that. Hennessy has always done really well by the city, but this is something that's been going on for a while, and our citizens, it must be taken care of.
And clearly, Mayor, and I think, you know, we've interacted substantially with a lot of residents in that area. They've seen us out there, and so we've heard their concerns. And this is even the configuration of our system is somewhat unique. That our basin is located in the city of Ecorse, so it's difficult to get over there, you know. But the reason I went through that timeline with you is to demonstrate 5 minutes makes a huge difference in us getting ahead of this event or getting behind it. And we've always kind of waited for, assuming that the RTB floats were going to be correct through there. And it's really what has changed since January is the pumps are just struggling. They're at their life cycle. And we're getting a lot of odd interaction with the pump itself, you know, with the pumps not shutting off. When the float goes down, they're continuing to run, they'll burn themselves out, so we have to manually shut the pumps off. And those are the types of things that really, we're in the middle, the council has already authorized this in evaluation, which is, thank goodness, and will be wrapped up. We've had electrical engineers, hydraulic engineers, geotechnical engineers. We have a whole team of engineers working on this particular report, and so that's very timely. You know, we're going to look at using ARPA money to do this, and my goal is we've rebuilt 3 pumps out of the 6. The 3 that we did not rebuild, I'm going to discard and bring brand new pumps in, and so that our pump fleet is not at the same time, and then in about 5 years bring on 3 new pumps. But with these 3 pumps, we're going to size them so that they can really just run this system through there, you know. And to give you an idea, every pump in that basin, when it was first built, has 1368, I think, is the gallons per minute.
13,655 gallons per minute.
They're enormous pumps, 13,000 gallons per minute. If you can just think of that, and like to give everyone a reference, a bathtub probably holds about 40 gallons.
In my basement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shore Drive, we get it every time.
And so we have come to this, we've analyzed this, because this is a very important topic to the council, to the community, to us, and we have to be present through there to get ahead of it and man that station.
And you've mentioned about the stuff under the ground that wasn't done correctly in the 80s. When can that be corrected?
It's not so much that it wasn't done correctly, is what was done was not documented.
Okay.
And so the plans that we have are inaccurate. And we have a new GIS system that we've imposed, which we've verified everything. So now we've got a good set of working documents for perpetuity now.
Okay, and you will have those documents, and I'm assuming John will get a copy of that.
Oh yeah, John has access to all of that, and we have you can log into our GIS system and see exactly where everything goes.
I know there was a lot of our stuff that was lost over in a flood of our own basement at one point.
It was, yes, in this city hall, there's a substantial amount of record loss. Yeah, even the configuration coming into the River Drive chamber, which used to be a pump station, is confusing. If you were to happen to look out there, you'll see 6 or 7, 9 manholes. It's just like you kind of have to scratch your head at some of the stuff.
Okay, but will we now have a mapped out? We know what we're doing. We know what the plan is at this point?
We do, yep, and we're going to bring our report in front of council. We're going to have to be under contract with somebody by the end of the year to qualify for our ARPA funds, which we're looking to do. Won't be a problem. And then it's really going to be the lead time of getting the pumps to create that. At that point, we will have automation, meaning that John, Chris, myself, will be able to see the levels in the wet well as they're occurring real time. What we've always done in the past is to see how Emmons and Lincoln react, and then we'll go to the basin, right? Because it takes 15 minutes to get there, right? You got to go down Southfield, go on to Jefferson, come up Mill Street, come through there. You know, it's not.
It is a bizarre way was set up over the years.
It is. That's what it's kind of head scratching somewhat. But we have a plan to automate this, which will alleviate this district. And
How soon can I tell my residents how soon is the flooding going to stop?
Well, now we have, the way we're manning the station, we'll be able to get ahead of it. You know, so we have to be very cognizant. If we have a rain event, you know, in Lansing, we have to be prepared to be at the station and see what's happening with Emmons and Lincoln, and then kick those pumps on. So, you know, that's why I wanted to go through that timeline with the council and the public, so that you can see just within 3 or 4 minutes, it's rising feet. And so if we get ahead of that, we'll be able to keep the system at bay.
Okay. Now, Maureen was up first. She asked earlier.
You said that you're going to be blocking off some manholes, or things shouldn't be where they are. Is that going to feed more water into that?
No, we're removing water from the system.
Okay.
So what they did in the 80s is they put a bulkhead in, which is where you kind of put a concrete wall in a pipe, you know, and you got to, you know, cut the brick and things like that. And well, that's leaking. And we found, and through our investigation, we discovered it was leaking to the point of about 400 or 500 gallons a minute. So that's a substantial flow.
It's going to be fixed, so that's going to put less water into the system.
That's right. That's going to be.
And if we know that a rain event's coming and someone's there to catch the floaty things, the floats.
The wet well. That's right. Yep.
If someone's there, and possibly keep those working correctly, and the wet wells are filling, is there going to be enough power to pump that water out?
Oh yeah, we can turn that 6 pump on manually, but you have to be present.
So we need someone there, and you've worked that out with John.
That's right, John and I, and we had a meeting today. We've talked about all of the O&M changes that have to happen before we get our new pumps in place.
Okay, and you don't know when the new pumps will be coming, or you've got to be all made and everything?
They'll have to be custom made and things like that. The pumps could easily take 3 to 4 months to make.
Okay.
Because that's just.
And how much more investigating do you have to do in the area?
We're still finding a few in-sources. We got our camera back. We'll be out there tomorrow televising a few areas that still seem questionable to us. We've got some houses that we want to interact with a little bit more, but we don't think we're going to find any more like significant inflow areas. These are going to be things that need to be addressed, but they're not substantial issues in that regard.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Eric, I believe you were next.
Couple things. First of all, the wet wells, they're cleaned periodically, correct?
Yeah.
Isn't there sediment in the wet well?
Oh, yeah. We clean them out every couple of years.
Okay.
No, we clean them out every year.
Yeah. They have grates that come in front of them.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's a few traps before they get into the wet well, but we clean those out every year.
So now when you're talking on manually bringing in the 6 pump, you're doing that at the basin, correct?
That's correct. You physically have to be present to kick it on.
Now, are you putting people at Emmons and Lincoln also?
No, because they don't actually have very much a very deep wet well, actually, the way those stations are designed to be built. They were designed so that when, if you have a pipe, if you can imagine, you cut the top of that pipe off, when it overflows, that will go into the wet well, and it'll kick on very quickly. So we know when Emmons and Lincoln kick on, though. We do know that. And we've always monitored that. What has not been monitored, which hasn't in the past until we've had this recent occurrence, is what's going on at the RTB. It's always been unmanned.
The one thing that I've been pushing is that the residents need to notify the city if they're having issues, because if you don't know an area.
Well, certainly.
So
Don't be shy.
I'm pushing it, and I hope the mayor does too. When people call, they force them to call City Hall because we want to know what areas have flooding issues. I mean, maybe we miss something, but, hopefully we don't.
No, exactly, and that's very important to us, so that we can actually, look at trends within the system hydraulically. But it does demonstrate, and which we've all seen, is the difference in a rain event. One part of the city can be hit very hard, and another part just be light sprinkles, and that, like Lincoln or Emmons in that one scenario kicked on it at 2:15, and the other one is 2:45. It's a half hour apart.
Well, I saw a little reporting sometimes on some streets, and then you get to another street, and it's the whole block. And there's no random reason, there's no rhyme or reason how it happens. I'm sure you know, but.
Yeah, if we were given our druthers today, we would not design this system the way it is, but we have to work with what we have, and we're going to substantially upgrade these pumps.
So we're going to man the basin, correct?
The RTB, that's correct.
And then we're not going to worry about Lincoln and Emmons at this
Well, we're under contract currently right now to rebuild Lincoln and Emmons.
Correct.
And one thing that we have to be absolutely sure of, and why this is all kind of dovetailing together, is Lincoln and Emmons were built in 38 and 42, I believe. And so they're probably operating at 85% efficiency, really. They're not operating as they were years ago. Well, once we replace them, they're going to be operating at 100% efficiency. And the RTB has to be present to remove those flows through there. So it'll dovetail actually very well with replacing the 3 pumps at the RTB and Lincoln and Emmons coming on. Replacing the 3 pumps at the RTB is a little easier than actually reconstructing Emmons and Lincoln. It's not the same time duration. They have to get new generators. There's a lot of things with Lincoln and Emmons. So the timing will actually work very well for all 3 things.
And we have backup in case those are down. Like, there's a backup plan, correct?
Each one has an extra pump for us to kick on.
Both Emmons and Lincoln, well, let's say all of our sanitary pump stations, they all have backup generators. The retention has a backup generator also. And those are run once a week for a half hour to exercise them, but they're there with the hopes that we don't have to use them.
If you pull one of those pumps, though, you have a backup plan, correct?
All we've got are 6 pumps.
No, I think you're talking about Lincoln and Emmons.
Lincoln and Emmons.
They have an extra pump in.
Each one of those stations have 3 pumps.
Okay.
And the maximum you can run at one time would be 2 pumps, so yes, you do have a backup pump. But the other thing that there's been a lot said here tonight, and I hate to let any air out of this balloon. I have 6 sewer people. 6. Some of them like to go on vacation once in a while. Some of them get sick once in a while. It's a lot to put on to 6 people. Let's look at you. There's 9 of you. If there were only 6 of you, on a rain event, that when the people do call in, if it's a flooded basement, we have the responsibility to go out and check the upstream manhole and the downstream manhole to make sure that that flow is running. If it isn't, we might have to go back to the yard and get our Vector truck because we may have a blockage. Simultaneously, we've got one, maybe two people at the retention basin, and then the other people are checking all the remainder pump stations, because even though they are automated, automation fails. I know I was lucky enough to get a 2024 brand new pickup truck furnished by the city. I only had it 2 days, and they had a recall. So even though it's new automation, just remember it can fail also. But it's a lot. But I've been living it here 15 years and almost 40 years in totality.
I've
But
been
yes, we're making
supporting
it happen.
adding people to your department.
I get it. It's a lot.
Even if our team can be involved, we will be, as necessary to kick on this pumps, because we understand enough of it but that 6 pump, if you kick that on, it will really address a substantial amount of rain events. It'll remove so much water. I mean, so you can imagine one pump removes 13,000 gallons per minute, and this inflow is 500 gallons a minute. If you just look at the magnitude of the two.
My question, if I may, the pump houses were built in 1938, in the 1940s. Well, clearly, there weren't that many homes in that area in 1940 and 1938, and there's a lot more sewage coming through. Do those pumps need to be expanded?
They're sized specifically for the piping system that's present through there, but the difference really is, at that time, if there's excess flow, it just went right to the river. We pumped it. All communities did, candidly, just pumped raw sewage into the Ecorse drain and into the Detroit River. And obviously, that's no longer available to us. And so, if we expand those pumps, it's a little bit of a balancing act, because you can't overwhelm the RTB by putting more flow from Lincoln and Emmons into them through there. And we have contractual relationships with the city of Allen Park that come into Emmons Station through there. So the Emmons is pretty well set. The pumps are correctly sized for that.
Okay, I'm just thinking that now's the time, because we are putting money into them, so if we
That's correct.
to do more, then
We're putting $12 million into
I
them.
want whatever we need to get these citizens not to have to worry about this, we're going to do it. The city needs to step up and do what's the right thing.
That's correct.
And I'm counting on you to bring me the information to do the right thing.
And we have to man that station until we get this automation resolved.
Thank you.
Yep.
Through the chair.
Yes, Lillian?
Mr. Hennessy, I thought that there were alarms there at the retention basin.
There are, at each of these, there are high water alarms that kick on for us, but we don't have the ability to, we can go back and remove the data. For example, when those pumps kicked on, I can see that after the event, but I can't see that in real time. I can't see there at 2:15 in the morning, pump number 1 kicked on, so I know something's going on. 2:17, this kicked on. And the pumps are not communicating correctly to themselves by the fact that the pumps will not, 2 of the pumps will never turn off unless we manually turn them off. Even though there's no water, the water in the wet well is at a level that should not be present.
So then if the system isn't working properly at the retention basin, can we now, with the upgrades that we've made in the Lincoln and Emmons pump stations, will we get alarms there?
All those are going to be completely automated, that's right. So by the upgrade of these, we'll be able to see exactly how much flow is going through each pump. We'll be able to see how long they've run, all of that type of stuff with the new, and that's what we're looking to do with the RTB as well. And we're going to do a 2-phase process. We're going to replace 3 of the old pumps immediately, and then we're going to look to replace the 3 remaining pumps probably in about 5 years. But those pumps have been rebuilt, and with the other 3, we'll be able to really control the RTB.
And with the full automation that we're looking at.
That's correct.
Alarms.
That's right. Oh, yeah, it has alarms. We're looking to do a radar system for the wet well, which actually, measures the surface of the water up and down, so we'll be able to say real time. Like right now, we would have to go to the RTB to actually check the level of the wet well. So that's what has to happen. So we have to drive over there, open up the hatch, and if you picture this, it's 2:30 in the morning. It's